Hi, this is chapter 4 of my book, We Are Emmanuel, How Man Became God. I feel like this chapter is where it starts to come together, so I hope it'll seem that way to you all. In the Bible, two men named Adam, the first and the second, are talked about. One Adam was earthly and one was heavenly, as one originated from the earth and one originated from the heavens. One was natural and one was spiritual. The natural came first and then the spiritual. Later, it'll be shown, based on the New Testament, that the first Adam, who obviously was not a literal man and was comprised of many people, had to be crushed into the dirt and turned to ashes in order that the second Adam, who was also not one literal person and was comprised of many people, might rise to be enthroned and glorified. Even science teaches us that when the atom, atom, was split, life began. So when Adam, the man, for the people, was split, life or Eve began. The word for Eve is chava, probably pronouncing it wrong. It means life or living. The living are bone of the atoms, bones, and flesh of its flesh. The word Adam, A-D-A-M, means man, mankind, much more frequently intended sense in the Old Testament. It means human being. Adam, first man, city in Jordan Valley. According to blueletterbible.org, the word Adam is used in places like Genesis 6:3. My spirit shall not always strive with Adam. Genesis 9:6. Whoso sheds Adam's blood, by Adam shall his blood be shed, for in the image of God made he Adam. Genesis 16:12, when referring to Ishmael's being a wild Adam. Leviticus 1:2, if any Adam of you bring an offering unto the Lord. Numbers 31:46, 16,000 Adams. Ecclesiastes 6:1, there is an evil that I have seen under the sun, and it is common among Adams. Therefore, no literal man with the name of Adam lived on the earth, and Adam was simply man, who represented all of mankind. In the beginning of the creation of Adam, a father reigned in heaven and a father reigned on the earth. A son reigned in heaven and a son reigned on the earth. Luke 3:38 says, which was the son of Enos, which was the son of Seth, which was the son of Adam, which was the son of God. Now this is Luke's genealogy of Jesus, who was the son of Adam. Adam, the first, having no other father in a spiritual sense, because he was the first man Yahweh interacted with, was said to be the son of God. After the flood, the Bible picks up with the generations of Noah's son Shem, and then his descendant Terah. One meaning of the name Terah is earth. It was from this earth, cleansed by water, that Yahweh would form his people. He presented himself to Terah's son Abram, later Abraham, and made a messianic covenant with him. Abraham was the father of Isaac, who was the father of Jacob. Jacob's name was later changed to Israel because, according to the text, he was a prince and had power with both God and men. Isaac was, of course, a type of Christ. Jacob's descendants were naturally called Israel, and this Israel was also the son of Yahweh. Abraham, Israel's grandfather, who typified Yahweh by being willing to sacrifice his son Isaac upon an altar, was the father on earth. The heaven and earth created through Abraham was to be a heavenly earth, with Yahweh's will being done on earth as in heaven, which is what Jesus prayed for. Isaiah 5:1-3 says, hearken to me, ye that follow after righteousness, ye that seek the Lord. Look into the rock whence ye are hewn, into the hole of the pit whence ye are digged. Look unto Abraham your father, and unto Sarah that bare you. For I called him alone, and blessed him, and increased him. For the Lord shall comfort Zion. He will comfort all her waste places, and he will make her wilderness like Eden, and her desert like the garden of the Lord. Joy and gladness shall be found therein, thanksgiving and the voice of melody. It's intriguing that the Bible speaks of Sarah and Abraham when Yahweh said he was going to comfort Zion and make her wilderness like Eden and her desert like the garden of the Lord. One is keenly aware that Yahweh did not speak of Adam and Eve here, but rather Abraham and Sarah. They were the parents of the people who were longing to go back to Eden. Isaiah further cried out to Yahweh to look down upon his people, because doubtless thou art our father, though Abraham be ignorant of us, and Israel acknowledge us not. Jesus, the Pharisees, and the writers of the New Testament further confirm that Abraham was the man with whom Yahweh made a covenant and would bless all people. The Jews of Jesus' day said, "We have Abraham to our father," and spoke of the oath that Yahweh swore to our father Abraham. Luke 16:24 says, "And he cried and said, Father Abraham, have mercy on me, and send Lazarus that he may dip the tip of his finger in water and cool my tongue, for I am tormented in this flame." When in pain, the rich man cried out to Father Abraham. Obviously, the rich man was a Jew. But if Abraham was the father, the preeminent one in Hades, does that mean Adam, Seth, and Noah failed to make it across the great gulf and into the blessed side? Abraham's bosom was Canaan. It was the Father's house, the promised land, where everybody wanted to go. Other passages calling Abraham the father of the Jews are Luke 16:30 and John 8:39, 53, and 56. This last verse reads as follows: "Your father Abraham rejoiced to see my day, and he saw it and was glad." Father Abraham saw Jesus' day. Now, how did he do that? In Acts 7, Stephen explained this. It's verses 2 through 4. "And he said, Men, brethren, and fathers, hearken. The God of glory appeared unto our father Abraham when he was in Mesopotamia, before he dwelt in Charan," or Charan, I'm not sure, "and said unto him, Get thee out of thy country and from thy kindred, and come into the land which I will show thee. Then came he out of the land of the Chaldeans and dwelt in Charan. And from thence, when his father was dead, he removed him into this land wherein he now dwell." Abraham saw the day of Jesus when Yahweh made a covenant with him. This was when Yahweh chose Abraham to be a blessing and to be the one through whom all families of the earth would be blessed. It was when Yahweh provided to Abraham the paradise of Canaan, an exceedingly good land which flowed with milk and honey. The kingdom was the father's before it was the son's. When the Israelites came out of Egypt to Canaan, it was because Canaan is where they'd come from in the first place, through Abraham. The Jews left Canaan, then returned to Canaan. Jesus left heaven, he returned to heaven. We come from Yahweh, we return to Yahweh. Romans 4, 12 through 16, 12 and 16. "And the father of circumcision, to them who are not of the circumcision only, but who also walk in the steps of that faith of our father Abraham, which he had being yet uncircumcised. Therefore it is of faith, that it might be by grace. To the end the promise might be sure to all the seed, not to that only which is of the law, but to that also which is of the faith of Abraham, who is the father of us all." Abraham was the father of us all. But the meaning is that he was the father of all people of faith, all spiritually living people. 1 Peter 3:6 states that Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him Lord, whose daughters ye are, as long as you do well. These women being spoken to were called daughters of Sarah, not daughters of Eve. It might be noted also that the Bible has Yahweh claiming 17 times, including when he met Moses in the burning bush, to be the God of Abraham. Of course, Yahweh is called the God of Israel too many times to mention. However, God of Adam is not found in the scriptures. Abraham and Sarah appear to have begun the first family of God. The Garden of Eden belonged to them, and they would give it to their descendants forever, just as Yahweh gave the garden to his son. Abraham was to be the God of the earth, the father of all people of faith, bringing light to the world to heal the nations. Through his seed, Israel, this would happen. Exodus 4:22 and 23 state, "And thou shalt say unto Pharaoh, Thus saith the Lord, Israel is my son, even my firstborn. And I say unto thee, Let my son go, that he may serve me. And if thou refuse to let him go, behold, I will slay thy son, even thy firstborn." Yahweh's son Adam was Israel, just as he was Abraham. If another Adam existed prior to Abraham/Israel, it's impossible to know who he was. Besides, Christ's story, for all intents and purposes, started with Abraham. Yahweh's covenant with the group of people began with the nation of Israel. And it's my belief that this is where any Bible student should look to grasp a comprehensible biblical view of both creation and eschatology. Speaking of eschatology with regard to Israel, when Yahweh cursed the serpent in the garden, he did not say the seed of Adam would bruise the serpent's heel, but was specific that it would be the seed of the woman. All of Eve's children were Adam's children, as he had none by any other woman. But Yahweh seemed to need to clarify that the seed would belong to this woman. Why would that be important if every child Eve bore belonged to Adam? It wouldn't. However, if the natural Adam was given children who did not belong to this Eve, then Yahweh would have to be explicit. Genesis 3:15, "And I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed. He shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel." This prophecy states that a battle was to rage between the seed of the woman and the seed of the serpent. Where else in the Bible is this found? Revelation 12. 1 through 17, and I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to read this. "And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. And she being with child cried, travailing in birth and pain to be delivered. And there appeared another wonder in heaven. And behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his heads. And his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born. And she brought forth a man-child, who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron. And her child was caught up unto God, and to his throne. And the woman fled into the wilderness, where she hath a place prepared of God, that they should feed her there 1,260 days. And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels, and prevailed not, neither was their place found any more in heaven. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceives the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, Now is come salvation and strength, and the kingdom of our God, and the power of his Christ. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our God day and night. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb, and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto the death. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down to you, having great wrath, because he knows that he has but a short time. And when the dragon saw that he was cast upon the earth, he persecuted the woman which brought forth the man-child. And to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place, where she is nourished for a time and times and half a time from the face of the serpent. And the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away of the flood. And the earth helped the woman. And the earth opened her mouth, and swallowed up the flood which the dragon cast out of his mouth. And the dragon was wroth with the woman, and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of God and have the testimony of Jesus Christ. Now here the seed of the woman and the seed of the serpent are engaged in their final battle. Who are the characters in this tale? The man-child is obviously Christ. The dragon is clearly revealed as that old serpent. called the devil and Satan. In verse 10, he's called the accuser. He's the one that was against the believers. But who is the woman? Some might say she's Mary, the mother of Jesus, since Christ was the man-child. But Mary never fled into the wilderness, nor is she the one to whom the promise was made in Genesis 3:15. Some might want to declare the assembly or church be the woman here. But as Reyes Stedman noted, she cannot be representative of the assembly since Jesus did not come from the assembly. Rather, it is quite the other way around. It was the Lord who produced the church. The church is born out of the wounded side of Jesus. Therefore, that symbolism does not fit the picture here. End quote. Who then is the woman? What can be learned about her from the passage in Revelation? Verse 1 of Revelation 12 states that this woman was clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. In Genesis, Joseph, the son of Jacob, or Israel, dreamed of his father and mother, the sun and the moon, along with his 11 brothers, 11 stars, bound down to his star, making 12 stars in all. Genesis 37, 9 and 10 say, and he, Joseph, I put Joseph here so you know who it was, dreamed yet another dream, and told it to his brethren, and said, behold, I have dreamed a dream more. And behold, the sun and the moon and the 11 stars make obeisance to me. And he told it to his father and to his brethren. And his father rebuked him and said to him, what is this dream that you've dreamed? Shall I and thy mother and thy brethren indeed come to bow down ourselves to thee to the earth? Joseph, an interpreter of dreams, did not have to interpret this dream for his father. Jacob knew what it meant. He understood that his family replicated on the earth what was in the heavens. Remember, Jesus is the Son of Righteousness, S-U-N, and the Son is a bridegroom coming out of his chamber. Jacob was the sun. Rachel was the moon, and the 12 sons of Jacob were the 12 signs of the zodiac. Israel was the sun, moon, and stars. The Apostle Paul wrote, this is Romans 9, 3 through 5, for I could wish that I myself were cursed and cut off from Christ for the sake of my brothers, those of my own race, the people of Israel. Theirs is the adoption as sons. Theirs the divine glory, the covenants, the receiving of the law, the temple worship, and the promises. Theirs are the patriarchs, and from them is traced the human ancestry of Christ, who is God over all, forever praised. Amen. Stedman noted, it was Israel that humanly brought forth the Christ. That is why Jesus told the woman at the well of Samaria, salvation is from the Jews. It comes to Gentiles by that route. So the woman here is Israel, brought to preeminence again. As one commentator well describes it, thus she is seen clothed with the glory of the sun, that is, of Christ himself, as he will presently appear in supreme power as the Son of Righteousness. For the sun, S-U-N, is the ruler of the day. As a consequence, her glory of old before the day, dawn, the reflected light of her typical system, is like the moon under her feet. Upon her head, the crown of 12 stars speaks naturally of her 12 tribes, planets now around the central sun. End quote. Verses 14 through 16 of Revelation 12 above remind us of the bringing of the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. The serpent cast out a flood of water to destroy the woman, but the earth opened her mouth and swallowed the flood. When the Israelites crossed the Red Sea, the water separated. Israel walked through the sea on dry land. But the Egyptians, the river dragon, were drowned. Everybody went down into the water. Everybody was baptized. But only Israel came up out of the water, as the serpent, the Egyptians, was destroyed in the flood of waters. Israel then fled into the wilderness and was nourished by Yahweh. The reason it would be the seed of the woman who would crush the serpent was that it would be Israel's seed. Israel was Yahweh's betrothed, and it was through her that he would bring forth his son. Besides all that has been said already, the Bible is unambiguous that Israel would conceive, travail, and bring forth a man-child. Isaiah 66, 6 through 13. Sorry. The voice of noise from the city, a voice from the temple, a voice of the Lord that renders recompense to his enemies. Before she travailed, she brought forth. Before her pain came, she was delivered of a man-child. Who has heard such a thing? Who has seen such things? Shall the earth be made to bring forth in one day? Or shall a nation be born at once? For as soon as Zion travailed, she brought forth her children. Shall I bring to the birth and not cause to bring forth, says the Lord? Shall I cause to bring forth and shut the womb, says thy God? Rejoice ye with Jerusalem, and be glad with her, all ye that love her. Rejoice for joy with her, all ye that mourn for her, that ye may suck and be satisfied with the breasts of her consolations, that ye may milk out and be delighted with the abundance of her glory. For thus saith the Lord, behold, I will extend peace to her like a river, and the glory of the Gentiles like a flowing stream. Then shall ye suck, ye shall be borne upon her sides, and be dandled upon her knees. As one whom his mother comforts, so will I comfort you, and ye shall be comforted in Jerusalem. Abraham, through Israel, was the one who produced the seed that became the Christ. Abraham and Sarah. Again, the Bible is Israel's book, and it's her story. She was the world. Abraham was God, who owned the garden, and Israel was his son, Adam. That's one reason that the Bible says, so God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him, male and female created he them. And male and female created he them and blessed them and called their name Adam in the day when they were created. Israel was considered both male, Yahweh's son, and female, Yahweh's bride, and Israel, the nation, was made up of both men and women. Further, the Christ whom Israel represented was to be raised with both males and females as part of his body. Israel, Yahweh's firstborn, would become Christ and all that were in him. Yahweh was specific that the woman would be the one whose seed would crush Satan, because the father of Israel, Abraham, produced children by other women, Hagar and Keturah. Hagar's son, Ishmael, was particularly singled out as not being the chosen seed. He, in fact, figured prominently in the story of the battle for supremacy between the seed of the woman and the seed of the serpent. As the story progresses within this dissertation, within this book, it will be shown that the allegory of right and wrong, good and evil, light and darkness, carnality and spirituality revolves around the descendants of Abraham's sons Ishmael and Israel, Jacob through Isaac. Again, the name Eve means life or living. That means that Eve was considered to be either the first woman to live biologically or the first woman to live spiritually or covenantally. She was the one through whom the living would come. When Rebekah was given to Abraham's servant as a wife for Isaac, her mother and brother told her, to be thou the mother of thousands of millions. And Paul said that the mother of all was the Jerusalem above. He wrote that he and his peers were children of promise, the promise made to Abraham through Sarah, not Hagar, and not someone named Eve. And that they were of the seed of Isaac and, of course, Rebekah. The concept of the promised seed from this point on goes back no earlier than Abraham. The seed that would crush the serpent's head was the seed of the free woman, Sarah. Within Abraham was embodied both the father and the son, but the firstborn son was Israel. Because Eve was the wife of Adam, and Adam represented Christ, Eve does represent the body of Christ, the Jerusalem from above, through whom he functions on the earth. And the persecution of Revelation 12 was indeed against his body. To sum up, Adam was Yahweh's first friend. But Adam wasn't one man. He was a people. All the people in Adam were Israel. Adam was Yahweh's son. Remember that Luke, in giving the genealogy of Jesus, declared that Adam was the son of God. Yet Israel was the firstborn son of Yahweh. Unless Adam was Israel, something simply isn't right here. It doesn't add up. Adam was Israel, the first people with whom Yahweh had a relationship. And the Bible, again, is Israel's story. That's my thinking anyway. Thank you all. Bye.